Have you ever wondered what this little guy is for in your Overlocker kit? Well, so had I. So shall we find out together? Hi, my name's Laura and you're watching my channel So Very Laura. So welcome to the penultimate episode of Vlogmas. And as I promised you yesterday, today I'm going to talk about how to do a rolled hem on the Overlocker. So first things first, I did this on my Marilla Walker top. This is the Nautilus top, which I made for my first Busy Bee challenge back in October. So I'll link the vlog at the end of this video so you can find out how I got on. But if I show you the hem, hopefully you can see that. That is a 3-thread rolled hem done on the Overlocker. And to be honest, I did it because I'd never tried it before, but I did it because I thought that it was quite a short top as it was. I should really have lengthened it, and I didn't want to take a lot off the bottom of the garment, so I chose to try to do rolled hem on the Overlocker. You can do a rolled hem on a sewing machine. They do tend to be a bit wider, so I've got a couple of rolled hem feet which I will dig out and show you in another vlog. I actually find it quite hard to do consistently, and I think it's easier on the overlock, but you don't end up with such a wide hem. So I'm going to send you over to Overlocker Laura, and what I'm going to show you is how you do a 3-thread rolled hem, which is not easy to say actually, on the Overlocker first, and all the settings that you need to change, certainly on my machine, and maybe if you've got an older model. And then I'm going to show you how you use this little guy to convert your sewing machine to a 2-thread overlocker. So this disables the upper looper, and that actually means that you can use your overlocker for all sorts of different 2-thread stitches, but I'm just going to stick to the rolled hem for today. So the second tip is going to be how you convert your overlocker to 2 threads, and then I'll show you what a rolled hem looks like with 2 threads. Okay, so I'll see you back in a minute. So welcome to another tips section of Vlogmas, and as I promised last time, I'm going to look at rolled hems today, and I'm going to start off by looking at it with 3 threads, and then I'm going to look at how you can convert your overlocker to 2 threads if you've got one of these little widgets. Have a look at your manual. Obviously, I think if you've got one of the super whizzy ones that cooks your dinner for you and sews your garments without you being there, you probably won't need a lot of that, but the 2-thread thing is still quite interesting, and it's interesting, I think, to understand how it works. Obviously, as I say, look at your manual. I have to say my manual gives me not very much information at all, so as usual I have drawn on what the Stitch Sisters say about doing a rolled hem on your overlocker in order to help me through the settings on my machine. So I've got an Elna 664 Pro, and what I've done so far, all I've done is I've taken out my left hand needle so that I can do a narrow rolled hem on 3 threads. So what I'm going to do first is to adjust my program setting, which for some reason I've still got it left on gathering, that's why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust it. This is, I said last time, is just a rotating table. It doesn't change any of the settings on the machine, but I have a list of settings for rolled hem 3, which is rolled hem with 3 threads. So right hand needle, upper looper and lower looper, and I'm going to change my settings to what I need for this as per my manual. So this is saying I've got the right hand needle only, which is right, and then I have 0 setting on that because which I'd already set, because obviously if there's no thread in there, then you don't need any tension on that disc. And then it's saying put the right hand needle to 4 and the other two stay on 3. But in terms of stitch length, I have a setting, as I hope you can see, I'm cranking down. So I'm going down, and between 1 and 2 there is a setting called R, so I guess it's kind of like 1.5. So that's the rolled hem stitch length setting. And then differential feed is at 1, because you'll remember from when I talked about gathering, and I'll link to that last time's Vlogmas at the end of the vlog, I said if you want to gather, then you crank up your differential feed, and if you want to stretch the fabric, then you reduce the differential feed. But this will mean that the fabric is going through at an even rate, so it's neither gathering nor stretching, so that goes on to 1. But that's not the end of the story, and this is the bit where my manual really wasn't very clear. But you'll see here, hopefully, there is this little setting which says that's standard stitching, but also you've got RH, which stands for rolled hem. So because I want to do a rolled hem, I need to push that up to there. And that's still not the end of the story, because inside your machine you have another setting which you won't be able to see on here. It says S and then it says R, and there's this little pink knob, but if you try to move that, you can't. Now what this is trying to do is change the stitch finger to move it out of the way, because normally that exists, and I found this out from the Stitch Sisters, to stop the stitches getting squished down. But that's what you want at the moment for a rolled hem. You do want the stitches to get squished down, so you don't want the thread to be going over the stitch finger. So you can see that this button isn't going anywhere at the minute, and so that's because it's being blocked by the cutting blades. So the first thing that I need to do is push on my button, and which controls the upper knife there, you see. And sorry, it is a bit, it shouldn't be stiff because I've just had it serviced. There we go. I just probably haven't got it right. And I need to move that down and just push it out of the way like that. But then I still can't move it because the lower cutting blade is still in the way. So what I need to do is push this other lever here, and that just moves the cutting blade out of the way. And that means that I can slide the stitch finger out of the way. So hopefully you can see there's the stitch finger. So keep your eye on that and you'll see it moving out of the way. So push that down to R, and the lower blade then goes back into place when I release the button. So that's it. That's all the changes that I need to make. Now you have a choice as to whether or not to reinstate your knife or not. If your if your fabric is very frayed, then you might want to do that, but I've literally just cut this. This is the same fabric as I used to sew the rolled hem on the Marilla Walker top, and as you can see, because I've just cut it, it's not very frayed, so I'm going to avoid accidents and leave my cutting thread, my cutter out of the way. So I'm going to close up my overlocker like that, and I'll leave my thread catcher off because there shouldn't be any, and I'm just going to run my fabric through the machine and pray that it will work. Would help if I switched it on, wouldn't it? Right, so let's see what we get when we put this through the machine. There you go. Right, hopefully that's in shot. So you can see that I have indeed got a rolled hem. So there you go. So that is a 3-thread rolled hem. However, switch my machine off again, you can do a rolled hem with just 2 threads. So you can do it by just using your lower looper, which is this one, and your right hand needle. So I'm going to show you how I, on my machine, adapt my overlocker to be 2 thread, and then I'm going to show you what the rolled hem will look like. I have to say, I am doing this for the first time, so this might be rather less of a tutorial and a bit more about finding out what happens. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to take the thread out of your lower looper. So I'm just going to chop off, sorry, upper looper. I'm just going to chop off my upper looper thread and run the machine just to get that to run out. There we go. So now I've just got the 2 threads left in. I've got my needle and I've got my lower looper. However, if I open this up so you can see the upper looper, you can see that that upper looper is still in play. It's still maneuvering around. So if I don't disable it, I'm going to have a problem because it's still going to be interfering with the creation of the 2 hem roll thread. So what I need to do, switch my machine off again, get this little guy so that that hook goes through my upper looper and takes it out of play, and then this sits this way round in that slot. Now I've tried to do this about 4 times already, and I've realized that what I was doing was trying to put the hook too far round. So it's literally just the very twisted bent end of the hook that goes in it. And then this, when you get it right, slots in quite happily like that. So there we go. So you can see that's in. I've got all my rolled hem settings already, but the other thing I need to do on my machine is to pop this. You can see that says 3 and 4 thread and this says 2 thread. So I need to push that down. So again, it's taking out of play my upper looper settings. And then I need to go to my rolled hem setting for 2 thread, which is number 9 conveniently, so I can move that on. So now it is saying I need my right needle in, which is right, and I need to press my alteration thing from 3 to 4 to 2 threads, which is right. I need to be on rolled hem, which I already am. I need my adapter in, which is here. I need to be on rolled thread, rolled hem stitch length, sorry. And I need to be set, I said I need to be set to rolled hem, so that's there. And my differential feed should be 1. Okay, so I can close that up. And then in terms of my tension settings, I should be on 0. This needs to come down to a 3, this needle. This needs to be a 0 because there's no upper looper working now. And this needs to be a 3. So let's give it a go and see what happens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And there you go. So there is your 2 thread overlock. And hopefully you won't be able to see because it's so small. I'll try popping it right up to the camera, but it is rolled over. I think last time I put it through the wrong way round and I had the roll coming over onto the right side. But there you go. So if we compare, and you can see that the rolled hem with the 2 thread is much neater and daintier. So that's how you do it. There are other stitches that you can do with 2 threads in, so let me know if you want me to give any of them a go. I wondered about trying a flat lock because that's what you need for athletic wear and swimwear if you want to do that on your overlocker. Maybe in the new year I could do something where I compare sewing athletic fabric on my cover stitch, which I've never tried. And I've never tried doing a flat lock stitch on my overlocker either, but I could compare the two. I do definitely want to make leggings, so but I'm sure you can do it for swimwear as well, so let me know if that's of interest. So just before I hand back to Advent Swapmas Laura, I am just going to show you how you get your little widget out. So switch my machine off, and all you do, there is a little tab there, and oops, you push down on that tab and this flips out, and then you try not to lose it in the innards of the machine, and out it pops, and then your looper is back in play. So I hope you thought that was interesting. It took me quite a long time to shoot that because it took me ages to fathom out the best way to get this into my machine, but we got there. So that is tips 9 and 10 for Advent Tipmas, and I will now open my gifts from Tina, which are gifts 9 and 10. So this is Tina bobbing along nicely, with whom I've done the Advent Swapmas. So this is gift number 9, which is kind of medium sized. More eager scrabbling. Ooh, it's a baby rotary cutter. It's one of these nice small ones. So I think that will be great for me to take on socials, because sometimes I do want to take a bit of cutting out with me, but I don't want to take a great big one. So that is lovely. Thank you so much, Tina. That is super helpful. And it looks like it's got a really comfy handle. It's a millwood. So that is fabulous, or as Craig would say, fabulous. So that is gift number 9, and here is gift number 10, which feels like a little tiny box. So here we go. Ooh, little blue box. Oh wow, I'm not sure, that might be Tina's logo, I'm not sure. So we have tissue paper, oh my goodness, Tina, they are beautiful. Look at those. They're fantastic earrings, and I'm sure she must have made those because I know she works with glass. Tina, they are lovely because they remind me a little bit of Christmas trees with fairy lights, but because they're so abstract, I could wear those any time of the year, and you've got my colours spot on. I just adore those. Tina, thank you so much. They are really lovely, and they will sit with pride in my jewellery box and be very precious to me as coming from a lovely new friend. Oh, they are amazing. They might get worn this afternoon, actually. So this afternoon I am back on rota at Tredegar House National Trust, where I volunteer. I said I'd do the evening shift tonight because I should have gone last week, and I didn't because my arm was so sore post flu jab. So I will come back to you with my final episode of Vlogmas probably on Christmas Eve. I'm not quite sure when I'll get this out because obviously I need to edit it, and because I'm on shift until 8 o'clock tonight. But I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Let me know what you think of rolled hems, and do you like doing them, and if so, do you use your overlocker or do you do it on the sewing machine? And I could get my cover stitch out for the final Vlogmas, although I really can't claim to be an expert, but let me know if you want to see my cover stitch in the last Vlogmas episode. So take care. Hope you're all getting a chance to get some rest and relaxation in whatever you're doing. Bye for now.